colors on the street, red, white, and blue. People shuffling their feet. Hey, welcome to Zville Lessons for Live channel. My name is Xander Villain. Today we're going to be going over a song by Neil Young called Rockin' in the Free World. It's a great raunch and roll song. We're going to do this in two parts. The first part's for the intermediate players where I don't get into too much detail. And the second part will be for beginners where I break down what chords are used and where they're positioned on the neck and how to play them and stuff like that. If you want to jump ahead to that, go down in the description. It'll say beginner section with a time code. Click the time code. It'll jump ahead in the video. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. Hey, welcome to the intermediate section. Let's just get right into it. So for the verse and the opening and the lead section of this song, it's basically three chords, which are simple. It's E, D, and C. But you also play it open like that and like that. So what I do for the beginning is I do an E like this, not this one, but this, just straight open bar chord, and I chunk up and then work my way down. So you got those bottom strings ringing out at the end. So it's like, hear that? And then I do an open. I guess I draw up on that C. So down, up, up. So down, up, up. And then when it gets into the actual dialogue of the verse, I go, well, there's colors on the street. And I go to the bar chords of D and C. Instead of this D and C, which I was doing in the opening, I go. And I change it all the time. It's never quite the same. So it's. Now, halfway through the verse, I switch back to the open chords. So it's like, there's colors on the street, red, white, and blue. People shuffling their feet, people sleeping in their shoes. There's a warning sign on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying we'd be better off dead. Now, if you notice, when I go into that, it's to punch it up a little bit for the second half of the verse, but I also don't chunk as much. There is a warning sign on the road ahead. Just single hits. Road ahead. There's a lot of people saying we'd be better off dead. Don't feel like Satan. So that's basically it for the verse. All right, so in the chorus, it's 5 chords. It first goes down to a G, and I do these open, and then it goes to a D, then to a C, then down to a E minor there, where you're just playing these two, you know, 2nd fret A, 2nd fret D on the 5th and the 4th string. So, and what I do is I put that little flam in there. And what that is off your B, you go up to your C, and back to the B, to the A, to the open A on the 5th string, and then down to your minor E. And when I do that, I usually let this ring out, the top half of the C that you get. Make it nice and muddy, you know. And then at the very end, it does that last one. Up to an A. What I do there is I do the first half of it on the lower A, then I add the A on top with your B and your E string on the 5th fret with your pinky. Then I go up to the 2nd octave A, keeping the 5th string open, doing your 2nd octave A for, and then at the very end I add that pinky on top of D, so it's D over A, I guess, you know. So let me just take that very end, then it's like a... And that's how I do it. Hopefully that worked for you guys. If you want to learn more, go ahead and check out the beginner section. Let's jump into that right now. All right, welcome to the beginner section. So to start with, the verse and the opening and the lead sections pretty much are just the 3 chords. Now, you can go into the chorus for the lead if you want to, but that's all up to you. You can put the song together any way you want. The 3 chords you're going to be playing with are E, and I do it in an open position, like that. And then I do D in the open position and C. So that's your 3 chords, E, D, and C. If you don't know how to play the chords, I'll get into that in a second, but let me just show you basically how the song goes. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. See how you jump the gun on that one? Then you can hold that C, you don't even have to hit anything. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's basically how the riff goes. Until you get to the words, then I change it and I go to the bar chord versions of D and C, where I go here. I want to clean it up for the vocals. On the second half of each verse, I go back to this because I build it up. I build up the tension and the music, bring up the volume and the raunch. It's kind of a raunchy song. So let's get into this. So the E is done by hitting your open 6th string right here. And then I put my index finger on the 7th fret. I put my ring finger on the 7th fret of the A string, which is your 5th string, right there. Then I put my ring finger on the 9th fret of the D string, which is your 4th string. And then I put my pinky on the 9th fret of the G string, which is your 3rd string. That's it. And then I leave the bottom 2 strings, the 1st and 2nd string, the E and the B, I leave them open. So, and that makes a nice open E chord. I know it's not open like down here, like you would have if you're doing that, but I like to have the 2nd octave. I like that whole open thing, and here's why. What I do when I get the song going at the beginning is I start on the low strings, and then I work to the bottom strings. The top strings, I should say. When I say bottom, I mean the thicker strings, the lower key, the lower note, not the lower strings as far as up and down goes, but lower in actual notation. So these are your lower E note, E, 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 and then your B here, and then your E there. So, hear that? And that's something to work on. That's kind of one of the fun things that nobody really talks about when they're playing, is to, do different strikes on different strings when you got all 6 strings in play to get a different tonality or a different pitch, vibe to the thing. So, hear that? So that's your E chord. And then your D, if you've never played a D before, then this is probably a little complicated for you, but a D is, you're hitting the bottom 4 strings, which is your open D, which is your 4th string. You're putting your index finger on the 2nd fret of your 3rd string, which is your G string. You're putting your ring finger on the 3rd fret of your B string, which is your 2nd string. And you're putting your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your 1st string, which is your E string. Your high E. This is an E, this is your number 1 E, and this is your number 6 E. So that's your D, the bottom 4 strings. And then your C, what you're doing is you're playing the bottom 5 strings, and you start by putting your ring finger on the 3rd fret of your 5th string, which is your A string. You put your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your 4th string, which is your D string. You play your G open, which is your 3rd string. You put your index finger on the 1st fret of your B string, which is your 2nd string. See that? And then you play your 1st string open. So the G and the E, the 1st and the 3rd, are played open. And that is a C chord right there. So it's basically... 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. And that's a 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You know, I like to go down, up or down. So it's pretty simple on that. It's down, up, or down. When the vocals start, I change it up and I go to bar chords. This is your D bar chord. So what you do is you just bring your E that I showed you right here. You just bring that from the 7th fret down to the 5th fret and don't play the 6th string anymore. Because now you're in an a D note, but you're on the A string. That's your D note on your A string. You know, you got your A, B, C, and then D. So that's your A, that's your D, and then you go down to your C. So basically it's 7th fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret. But to achieve the raunch and roll at the beginning and in the second half of the verse, and I'll show you in a second about that, it's better to play these open so you got some kind of distorted garble. You know, it's like you kind of want that raunch in there, right? That's what the song's all about. It's got attitude. So, but when the vocals come in, I like to clean it up at the beginning. There's colors on the street, red, white, and blue. People shuffling their feet, people sleeping in their shoes. There's a warning sign on the road ahead. Now you notice I go to single hits there. There's a warning sign on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying they'd be better off dead. But I open up the chords so it gets a little bit more intense, and I pause it out so it doesn't step on the vocals. So there's a warning sign on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying we'd be better off dead. Down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. See that? Down, up, down, up. Now for these, for the second half of the verse, or the first half of the verse, when I'm doing these bar chords, I kind of do this little picking thing too. So it's like, you don't even have to pick it. You could just go down, up, down, up. So it's down, up, down, up. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So what I'm doing there is I'm hitting the 5th and the 4th string on the down, and then I'm hitting the 4th and the 3rd string on the up. And I'm muting it slightly with my palm right here on the just north of the bridge, or just up from the bridge, just barely on the string. So you're going. Hear that? So when you mute it, you kind of get a cleaner note. That's unmuted. Here's muted. You're having fun with it. What's cool about this song, as long as you don't hit any strings that don't belong there, like the B, when you're doing this A, hear that doesn't really fit. If you keep on these 3 strings, as long as you're on time, you can't screw it up, because it's just about having a great rock and roll time. You can keep going down if you want. There's a colors on the street, red, white, and blue. See what I mean? Just have fun with it. I like doing this though. Pause, pause, pause. So it's a quick one, and then a longer one. Quick one. But you can just keep going like. Let's go slow on this verse part real quick here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going into the other part of the verse. And then we go into the chorus. So hopefully that is everything you need to know on that part of it. Now the chorus, right after it does that, it goes to a G. Keep on rocking in the free world. That's the D again. And then the C. Down to an E there. So there's 5 actual notes, and you don't get to the 5th one to the very end of the chorus, which is an A, which is kind of a bridge back into the verse. If you don't really know what a G chord is, here it is. It is a middle finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, which is your 6th string, top string. Then your index finger on the 2nd fret of your A string, which is your 5th string, right here. Then the middle 2 are played open, which is your D and your G. And then you put your ring finger on the 3rd fret of your 2nd string, which is your B string, and your pinky on the 3rd fret of your 1st string, which is your E string. And that makes up a G chord. You're playing all 6 strings, especially on this song. I'm going to turn this down so it cleans it up. Cleans it up a little bit for you there. So it's keep on, and then go back to that D. Rockin' in the free world, C. That's a E minor, where you're hitting all 6 strings, but you're only putting fingers on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, which is your A string, and the 2nd fret of your 4th string, which is your D string. And you can hit all 6 strings. See that? I like to do it with my pinky and ring finger right there. As you can see, that's the only ones I'm really doing. See that? Sorry, those are my big fat fingers in the way there. But you can also do it this way if you like. It doesn't really matter with this song because you're not really doing this. You're not doing any of that rock and roll type stuff. So once again, it's keep on rocking in the free world. 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 There's your A. At the end of it, you go to an A, which is your open A, which is your 5th string, right here. Then you put your index finger on the next 3 strings, which is your D, G, and B string, right there. And you're not going to really be hitting this one because you're trying to keep it a low chunk. So you're hitting the middle 4 strings, the A, D, the G, and the B. The 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, and the 2nd. and you're laying those fingers and leaving that fifth string open. Then you're back into that. So let's take that very end again. Keep on rocking in the free world. And then back to the verse, or back to the pre-verse. And it might go into a lead. I'm not sure where you're at in the song. So there you go. Now I'm going to show you the little fills that I put in between that. So that's your chorus right there. Now the little fills that I do. Keep on rocking in the free world. What I'm doing there is I'm taking my fingers off the top end strings, the bottom end notation-wise of the C chord. I'm leaving the bottom three strings ring out, the G, the B, and the E, and I'm just taking these two fingers off, and I'm doing a little flam right here, where I take the B note on which is your second fret of your A string, going up to the third fret of your A string, back down to the second fret, then to the open A. And then go into that whole open E, which is all 6 strings. So it's... Here I let that ring out, that top end ring out. Which is like totally raunchy, and that's what the song's all about, is trying to get that grind in there, you know? So it's... Keep on rocking in the free world. And you go straight from the A, E, but then you put these on there. Keep on rocking in the free world. Keep on rocking in the free world. Now here's what I do with the A. And if you're new, you don't have to do this. You could just stay here. 1 and 3. But what I do is I do the first one. Then I add my pinky. If you can reach up and you can grab the top A, because remember, this is your A note and this is your A note. The 5th fret on the 6th and the 5th fret on the 1st. And then if you bar that, that's an A right there. So if you add that, the bottom 2 strings with your pinky, you're just basically going up an octave. It's the same 2 notes right here, which is an E and an A, E and an A, right? So it's... Then halfway through that, I go up to bring up the intensity. I go up to the 2nd octave A, which has got the A open right there. Then your 2nd octave A, which is on your D string on the 7th fret. And then on your G string, you go for the E note right here with your ring finger on the 3rd string, 9th fret. You add those 3 together. And then on the very last 2, I put that same pinky down on the bottom 2 strings on the, what would be the 10th fret, right there, which is a D, because, you know, this is your D bar chord, if you don't know that, but this is a D, just like this is an A when you're doing this one down here. So it's kind of like a D over A. So I go... So I'll show it to you real slow. Here we go. Keep on rocking in the free world. Go to the A. Hear that? It shouldn't work, but it does. Because it's just raunchy, you know. But if you can't do that, it's fine to just go from this. Kind of practice. If you can't do this stuff, this is a good one to practice because it's relatively easy to do on your fingers and your wrist, and it won't hurt too much because I know how painful it is to try to reach chords that you can't necessarily reach. It gets pretty painful. But check this out. You can just go the same 3 strings. Open, right? Open A, which is your 5th string, and then you're barring with your index finger on the 2nd fret of your 4th and your 3rd string. And then you're just sliding up to index finger on the 7th fret of your 4th string, ring finger on the 9th fret of your 3rd string, creating an A note, but you're keeping that same A open, so it's... So, keep on rocking in the free world. And then you're in the position to just drop right back down to the verse and the E because you're doing these 3 notes right there. Now you're going to do these 3 notes, 6, 5, and 4, which is the E that I showed you earlier. So you go from 2, now you can just add these little flams. If you've seen my other videos, I do a lot of this. When you got your D chord right here, you can either lift your middle finger off and incorporate that open 6th string or 1st string on your 1st string, or you can add your pinky on the 3rd fret of your 1st string, which is your E. So it's keep on rocking in the free world. See that? Keep on rocking in the free world. You just do it real quick right before you change to C. So those are little tricks you can add in as you go along. Hopefully that worked out for you. So that's it. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video you can use and you learned something. That'd be great. If you like our videos, please hit like and subscribe. It'll help our channel grow. If you want to check out another video, go ahead and click this link down here. If you want to check out our channel, see all our videos, go ahead and click this link over here. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one.